You think Zeus is the hero of Olympus? You think he's just the benevolent lightning guy from the movies? Think again. If Zeus existed today, he wouldn't be a leader. He'd be serving multiple life sentences in maximum security. From eating his own wife to treating humanity like disposable toys, the king of the gods was actually a cosmic nightmare. We are counting down the 9 darkest sides of Zeus's personality. And trust me, by the time we hit number 1, you'll realize the Titans were probably the good guys. Let's start with his motivation. We're told Zeus defeated his father, Kronos, to save his siblings and free the world from tyranny. That is propaganda. Zeus didn't want to liberate the world, he wanted to own it. Kronos was a tyrant, sure, but Zeus was planning a hostile takeover from day 1. He didn't just defeat his enemies, he cast them into Tartarus, a literal pit of eternal darkness, to ensure no one could ever challenge his authority. He even divided the world by drawing lots with his brothers, Poseidon and Hades. But somehow he conveniently ended up with the sky and the title of king. This wasn't a revolution for the people, this was a regime change. Zeus established a hierarchy where he held the ultimate veto power over fate itself. He wasn't a savior, he was a conqueror with a better PR team. But if you think his political ambition was bad, wait until you see how he treated his loved ones. He demanded total submission from the universe, but he couldn't even keep a promise to his own wife. And that brings us to number 8. Zeus is infamous for his affairs, but let's strip away the romantic myth. He wasn't just a player, he was a pathological betrayer who humiliated his wife Hera on a cosmic scale. We aren't talking about 1 or 2 slip-ups. Zeus pursued nymphs, titans, humans, and essentially anything that moved. He viewed these beings not as individuals, but as objects to be collected. Hera, the goddess of marriage, was driven to acts of absolute madness because of this. She spent her entire existence in a rage, punishing the women Zeus was with. But here is the twist. Zeus knew this would happen. He knew his attention was a curse. He knew Hera would hunt these women down, but he did it anyway. He didn't care about the safety of his lovers or the sanity of his wife. To Zeus, loyalty was something other people owed him, never something he owed them. And the lengths he went to satisfy these urges? That gets disturbing fast. Cheating is one thing, but the method he used to catch his victims takes this from a soap opera to a horror movie. Zeus rarely approached anyone as himself. Why? Because if the king of the gods asks you out, you might say no. So he became the ultimate catfish. He transformed into a defenseless cuckoo bird to get Hera to hold him. He turned into a magnificent white bull to trick Europa into climbing on his back before kidnapping her across the sea. He even transformed into a shower of gold to infiltrate a locked tower. But the darkest example? Alcmene. She was a faithful married woman. Zeus knew she wouldn't betray her husband, so Zeus physically transformed into her husband, Amphitryon, to trick her into sleeping with him. That isn't seduction, that is fraud and a massive violation of consent. He robbed her of her choice. He didn't want a partner, he wanted a target. He used his divine powers to become the ultimate predator, striking from the shadows of a disguise. He tricked you to get what he wanted. But if you actually made him angry, he didn't just end you, he made sure you suffered forever. When Zeus hands out a sentence, he doesn't believe in rehabilitation. He believes in eternal agony. He is the master of the cruel and unusual. Look at Prometheus. He gave fire to humanity, a good deed. Zeus's response? He chained Prometheus to a mountain and sent an eagle to eat his liver every single day. The liver would grow back at night just so the bird could eat it again the next morning. That is specific, calculated sadism. Or look at Tantalus, forced to stand in a pool of water beneath a fruit tree. Every time he reached for a drink, the water receded. Every time he reached for fruit, the branches pulled away. Starving and dehydrated, but never allowed to pass away. Zeus treats torture like an art form. He doesn't want his enemies to just disappear. He wants them to serve as living monuments of pain, to remind everyone else who is in charge. At least Prometheus and Tantalus did something to annoy him, but number 5 proves that you don't even have to be guilty to feel his wrath. To Zeus, human beings are nothing more than ants in a farm. If one ant bites him, he burns the whole farm down. In the myth of the Great Deluge, Zeus decided humanity was wicked, so he flooded the entire planet. Everyone, men, women, children, animals, wiped out because he was disappointed in his creation. In the Trojan War, he allowed thousands to be struck down, manipulating the battle lines just to resolve a dispute between goddesses and to thin out the population of the earth. He often punished entire cities for the disrespect of a single king. He treats life as collateral damage. There is no due process. There is no sorting the good from the bad. If you are standing next to someone Zeus doesn't like, you are going down with them. It's a complete lack of empathy on a divine scale. He treats strangers like garbage, but surely he has a soft spot for his own children. Wrong. Number 4 is straight up nightmare fuel for any family. Zeus is arguably the worst father in fiction or history. Being a son of Zeus wasn't a blessing, it was a target on your back. Take Heracles. Zeus fathered him, knowing Hera would make the child's life a living hell. Yet Zeus did almost nothing to stop the endless trials and madness forced upon him. Or look at Hephaestus. In some versions of the myth, Zeus threw his own son off Mount Olympus just for being unsightly or for defending his mother. He swallowed his first wife, Metis, while she was pregnant with Athena because a prophecy said the child might be stronger than him. He was willing to consume his own offspring to stay in power. He uses his children as soldiers, pawns, or ego boosters. He doesn't love them, he essentially manufactures them to serve his legacy. So, he destroys his enemies, ignores his kids, and torments humanity. How does he keep getting away with it? Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. Zeus doesn't rule through respect. He rules through terror. His primary symbol is the thunderbolt, a weapon of mass destruction. Every myth involves Zeus reminding the cosmos that he can obliterate them in a second. He threatens the other Olympians constantly. In the Iliad, he literally tells the other gods that if they disobey him, he will dangle them from the sky or cast them into the pit of Tartarus. He abuses his siblings and threatens physical violence against his wife regularly. Psychologically, this isn't a king, this is a dictator. He creates an environment where everyone is walking on eggshells. The peace on Olympus isn't genuine harmony, it is the silence of people who are afraid to speak up because the guy in charge has a nuclear trigger in his hand. But wait, isn't he the god of justice, the keeper of oaths? That brings us to the second darkest truth, his absolute hypocrisy. Zeus is worshipped as the guardian of Xenia, hospitality, and the keeper of oaths. He punishes humans who break their word. But Zeus? He breaks every rule he ever made. He violates the sanctity of marriage constantly. He breaks truces when it suits his agenda. He ignores justice when his favorites are involved. He is the ultimate example of rules for thee, but not for me. This creates a terrifying reality. The universe is run by a judge who is immune to the law. There is no higher court to appeal to. If Zeus commits a crime against you, it's not a crime. It's divine will. He twisted the concept of morality to serve his own desires. He isn't a moral compass. He's a moral vacuum. Now, put all these pieces together. The power hunger, the predation, the cruelty, the hypocrisy. It leads us to the single darkest realization about the King of Gods. If you strip away the marble statues and the temples, Zeus checks every single box on the dark triad of personality traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. If Zeus were a human character in a modern story, he wouldn't be the hero. He would be the main villain. He is a serial predator, a violent abuser, a negligent father, and a tyrannical warlord. The darkest truth is this: the only reason we consider Zeus the good guy is because he won the war. He wrote the history books. He defined what good meant. Zeus is the ultimate proof that absolute power doesn't just corrupt absolutely, it creates a monster that convinces the world to worship it. So, do you still want to hang out on Mount Olympus? Let me know in the comments which Greek god is actually worse than Zeus, if that's even possible. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more dark history deep dives. See you in the next nightmare.